In this session on security, I want to focus on four main aspects. I want to focus on identity-driven security. I want to focus on information protection, advanced threat protection, and then security management or security as an holistic solution. So identity is the cornerstone of any security platform. 80% of cybersecurity attacks are going after someone's identity in the organization. When we talk about identity-driven security, we're talking about shifting the protection of your network from a perimeter-based protection based around firewalls and VPNs, which no longer really serve us in a modern IT environment where most of your information is no longer sitting behind your firewall. In an identity-driven security environment, what we're really looking at is conditional access policies. So once I've got the identity of the user, the device, or the application that is trying to access my information, I can express a conditional access policy. A conditional access policy would be around operating system or security updates. If the conditions are not met, that say the particular machine needs to have a certain patch level applied to it, the machine will no longer be allowed to gain access to the network. Alternatively, if a user doesn't meet certain conditions expressed in the policy, the user may be prompted for a secondary authentication methodology. Something along the lines of multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is essentially something you know and something you have. Something you know would be your password, something you have would be your mobile phone. Microsoft are bringing together massive amounts of information and using artificial intelligence and machine learning to protect your organization better. So the massive amounts of information are coming from the intelligent security graph. We're looking at about 6.5 trillion signals per month. What constitutes a signal? Well, the 450 billion authentications that Microsoft do monthly on their cloud environment allows them to monitor trends and see situations that do not constitute normal behavior. So an example of that would be the impossible travel scenario. Say I logged on in Sydney at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and then logged on from Kazakhstan at 8 o'clock in the evening. That would constitute an impossible travel scenario. There's no way that I could have made it from Sydney to Kazakhstan in 3 or 4 hours. At that point, my account would be flagged as being at risk. Let's talk about threat protection. So threat protection is really security around the front door of your organization. It's like CCTV. It's a proactive approach. Before the bad stuff gets into my organization, how do I stop it? How do I get alerted that somebody is trying to breach my security? So we can monitor security endpoints, we can monitor users, we can monitor documents, we can monitor information itself. An example of threat protection would be the detonation chamber that is used for malware. If a piece of suspicious code were to enter your email environment, the detonation chamber would be a safe place where Microsoft could execute this code in the cloud before it even got onto your email server. When we look at information protection, I believe, should take place on the file level. The file should be aware of all the security wrapped around it. I don't believe that files should be dependent on another system to allow access to the file. So when we talk about file level security, what we really need to do is classify the files during the point of creation. So with Office 365, we'll see integration into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, where we'll get additional tabs that will allow us to classify files as, for example, low business impact, medium business impact, or high business impact. At that point, certain levels of security will be wrapped around the file, depending on what level of impact it would have in our organization. So the file classification can be done at the point of creation, because who better to classify a file than the person who's creating the file? Let's end the era of passwords. Windows 10 offers a feature called Windows Hello, which is a biometric scanner. I personally use Windows Hello all the time for security. I look at the machine, it authenticates me, it uses a single sign-on environment to then authenticate me against Microsoft's cloud. Taking an holistic approach to security means balancing security and functionality or productivity. Complexity is the arch enemy of security. Having a cloud partner like Microsoft providing your security platform for you allows you to integrate your productivity tools and your security platform. This gives a fine balance between security and functionality, and the benefits of this elegant simplicity can be seen from the IT department right down to the end user. What can you do today to improve your security? Well, let's start with the security dashboard in your Office 365 tenant, and I also want you to have a look at Secure Score, which is going to give you a rating on how secure your cloud environment is. Turn on identity-based security. Use information security policies to secure files at the file level. This starts with the classification of the data and secure everything, no matter where it is located. Enable advanced threat protection, so we can use features like the detonation chamber to mitigate the risk of a breach before it happens. And lastly, take an holistic approach to security management, placing value on people, process, and technology, because all of these need to work together to secure your environment.